the Comic Station, issue number 9 for February 27, 2013. I'm Paul Nisi.
I'm Scott Cates of the Comic Station.
And welcome again. As every week we bring the new releases, a review or two, and a recommendation. We also have a special announcement for the end of the video as well. Stick around. Welcome to the new releases for February 27, 2013. We're going to kick it right off with the big one, is Guardians of the Galaxy's number 0.1. This is obviously not a number 1, so it's kind of you can imagine it's kind of setting up the story and giving you a little bit of background. This centers on Star-Lord, a young Peter Quill. You learn why Peter Quill becomes the Star-Lord and his background into it. Basically, his father's from another planet, comes down. Things happen with the mother. He ends up leaving. Peter never knows his father. He actually, it's very apparent, especially in One Pain in this comic, he has father issues. Doesn't want to hear anything about it. But you can also tell from another point where on the he's only 10 years old, so on the playground, he stands up for a girl being picked on. So you can see his mentality here, where he's trying to protect people. Things happen, basically, his father's enemies find him, and there's a tragic opening to this, and then it, at the end, gives a nice big reveal. This is why he's the Star-Lord, and he's explaining this to somebody in the team. I don't know how much people have read into it or know the Guardians of the Galaxy, because obviously not too many people do. This is not a well-known team. So some people may be surprised that Tony Stark is on the team, and he's the one getting introduced, and you have a wonderful picture of everyone in the Guardian of the Galaxy at the end. So I'm assuming they're going to go through and tell other people's background story, but for the most part, this is about Star-Lord. Beautiful artwork, nice story. It was good. I wouldn't say it was amazingly gripping. There wasn't too much overarching story. This was just on him, so it's not a big reveal. So
I think it's a good starting point to getting to know the Guardians of the Galaxy. As long as they continue with the background of each of them. Once again, this is a group that you said not many people, unless you're an old-time comic book reader, not many people know it. It's going to tie in with the movie coming out next year. So, it was fun to read. I enjoyed it. It wasn't, like you said, it wasn't spectacular, but it was fun.
Yeah, I think if you're interested in the Guardians of the Galaxy, and especially once the media starts getting pumped up for the movie and such, when they start doing their media blitz, this is a good slow introduction. I do worry that this is a little too slow for some readers that want every issue to be a big bang and everything. So, but it's not a bad start. Alright, moving on. The next one, we actually have two of them from Grim Fairy Tales from Zenescope. 2 number 1s. The first one is Madness of Wonderland. Obviously, with Zenescope, they are well known for... Typically, their covers are more risque than their insides. They can be, but in this case, it's probably more mature. There are some scenes in here that kids should not read. There's no real explicit on here, but it's just more of, they are known for their beautiful artwork. And within that beautiful artwork is the beautiful women. As far as the writing goes, it's just fun. I don't know if I would say that it's overly gripping, and overly intense, but it is fun. It's kind of lighthearted. They do a good job of, in this case, this is following Emma, who's a new detective. There is a gruesome murder, 37 stabbings, purposely kept all that going on. There's a certain carving that brings back a callback to Call of Wonderland, which Emma was in a previous offering, but they do a good job of every once in a while putting in something that's humorous to break it up a little bit. I usually like the trade papers where it gets the big overarching. I love their stories. They do a great job of putting in a twist here and there and building on things, but it's usually over a few issues. So this one kind of sets it up. It really does a good job of gripping the mystery in here, though. There's plenty behind here that it sets it up really nicely.
I like, for me, all the Grimm fairy tales. It's a nice change of pace. I mean, it's certainly not going to rival classic literature in any stretch of the imagination, but it's a nice change of pace. The artwork is phenomenal. Definitely not for the kids. But if you're reading a lot of superheroes and you're reading a lot of, very not difficult but more intense reading,
it breaks it up.
It does, and it's just a nice little getaway. I enjoy it for that reason.
Yeah, like I said, it's always fun. Sometimes lighthearted, but they are serious with breaking up of lightheartedness in there. So I enjoy them. I just usually enjoy them reading in a nice big setting. Kind of like Netflix, where you go and get the whole season and you read it. So the next one is another one from Zenescope. It's the Jungle Book, Last of the Species. Obviously, the Jungle Book, it's playing off of Mowgli and that storyline. However, in this one, it's really Mowgli is a girl and her friend Akili. So Mowgli is Magoo and Shakira, all those, and everybody you know from Jungle Book, but Akili is more of like small animals, the mice and everything, and then you have two other humans. Both those other two humans are male. One is mad, as in crazy. Interesting that they seem Mowgli and him seem to have a little bit of a relationship. Little teasing, but at the same time, he's just crazy. So I wouldn't touch him, wouldn't get within striking distance of him. And then, of course, with the Jungle Book, you have your antithesis. There is, of course, the antithesis to Khan is the new person who leads, instead of wolves, he leads tigers. And so they all get swept up into a tiger attack on elephants, and it just culminates at the end where all four of them are together in one spot, and it gives you, it's just beautiful. It's really fun. It's nice to read. It sets some things up, but I'm wondering where the plot's going. I don't see the plot, but then again, with Jungle Book, you don't really see the plot either. It's just kind of, you just see it and you enjoy it. So,
and that's what I will do with it. I plan on reading it tomorrow, just as a change of pace.
There is a beautiful first scene, like just on the first page, just goes straight down, beautiful. So again, Zenescope knows how to do the artwork. Alright, the next two are actually issue number 2s, but they are new out today. The first one is Injustice Gods Among Us number 2. Again, I reviewed Injustice Gods Among Us number 1 on a previous comic station, and I just want to do a quick little thing with that one. I was wondering where they were going with the plot line. It was wonderful. I think I gave it a pretty good score for the first issue, and this one keeps it going. If anything, it boosts it up another notch, which is great to see on an issue number 2. The artwork is still fantastic. They're still putting great people on this, even though typically video game tie-ins don't get huge things. DC knows how to do it right. The only downside to it I can see is, whereas the Joker in the first issue, he seemed off, but more crazy off. This one he just seemed off. The artwork of him just seemed off this time. I don't know if that was in reaction to some people's reaction to number 1. But you get a good thing of why he did what he did in number 1, in typical Joker fashion, as in there's not that much reason. Harley Quinn gets a nice moment in here. You see Superman breaking down, and Superman puts, if you know the video game, if you've been looking at this, Injustice, made by NetherRealms, who did Mortal Kombat, if you've been seeing any of the previews, they're doing this wonderful bracket of fighting right now on Facebook. You know it, Superman puts down the law. And in this issue, he finally does it. And it's amazing. Like, I like it. It's not going to be canon. Nobody expects that. But if you like these characters, it's a nice addition. They actually do a really good job on this.
Well, I will say that for me, after reading the first one, and I am not a gamer, let's be very clear about that. I enjoyed the first one. Of all the comics I read the week that it came out, I enjoyed that the most. I am really looking forward to this. I have not had a chance to read it yet, but it's probably the comic that I'm looking forward to reading the most.
Yeah, they do a great job of keeping the characters true to form, yet in this alternate reality that's going on. So I can't wait to see what happens and how everything just breaks down in that. So it's amazing. Alright. The next one is Marvel Now's Young Avengers. Number 2. Again, I reviewed number 1 on an earlier issue of the Comic Station. The first page, they are young Avengers. They're teens. The first page looks like it's a recap of the previous issue in a social media kind of look to it. It's kind of a play on Tumblr slash Facebook, where I like it. It's kind of funny. It reminds me of the first issue had a playlist of the music that was playing in the background in some of the scenes. In this one, if you read the first one, the boys get into some trouble. There's interdimensional person that the one boy brings over thinking he's doing some good, doesn't know the trouble he's causing. They go to the Avengers for help, but it turns out the Avengers aren't actually much help. In a strange twist, which I'm looking forward to, Loki comes to the rescue, and it was fun. It was amusing. The artwork was really nice. My favorite scene is the Loki rescue scene. It just, not so much as like sweeping artwork or anything, just it was really fun, just an interesting out of the box, literally, if you see this, out of the box thinking on this. So I enjoyed it. I think especially younger readers, if you are a parent and you want to get your kids into the Avengers, or if you just yourself want to read something a little different, I think this is great for the younger teens. This is a beautiful way to get them into the comic books, especially the mainstay comics.
They have done, so far, they've done a good job with this. They basically have picked it up from where the original Young Avengers, which was a 12-issue run, had left off. And, I'm looking forward to reading this one as well. I haven't had the opportunity yet today, but I enjoy the characters. There's a lot of good qualities to the characters, and they bring a lot of today's issues into those characters as well. So I definitely recommend it.
I recommend picking it up.
Absolutely.
It's nice. Alright, next we have some reviews, recommendation, and something a little special at the end. Thank you. For our first review, we have an offering from Dark Horse Comics called Amalas Blade, number 0. This one is actually a collection of short stories from Dark Horse's Dark Horse Presents titular series. Amalas should have united the two warring tribes, but rather than going on this more spiritual journey, she instead takes a more adventurous path, that of an assassin. The ghosts of her past quite literally haunt her. It makes for fun, interesting banter between her and these, I want to say, conscious ghosts. They're kind of like her conscience speaking to her. It's the motivation of this past that really drives the most interest in Amala's Blade. Fine action scenes, but the focus is on the internal monologues. The scenes are very fluid and dynamic. Made me wish the fight scenes actually lasted longer. It was more of just kind of more talking and setting it up, but it is a number 0. Overall, it was really promising. Between Steve Horton's personalization, personable writing, and the artist action scenes, it shows a lot of talent, shows a lot of potential. I would probably recommend this more for young teens. There is some fighting scenes that can be brutal, not overly much, so young teens should be fine. Anyone older as well can enjoy this. But come on, she's an assassin. her first targets are pirates, and who doesn't like an assassin that attacks pirates, takes over the ship, and becomes a pirate assassin?
Beautiful thing.
Who would win, pirates or assassins? Who knows? Just take them both. So I enjoyed it, and you can see the full review on frontwardsgamer.com. The next one is from Image Comics called 5 Weapons. 5 Weapons #1 centers on a unique school called 5 Weapons that trains hitmen in training. Usually it's the children of famous hitmen. It's a prestigious school, very high-end and very expensive. This centers around the newest enrolled student called Tyler Shaneline, who comes from a long line of famous assassins, and everyone perks up when they hear his name. In an interesting twist, Jimmy Robinson not only wrote this, but also illustrated and was the letterer for this as well. So this really is his baby, and nice and versatile. I mean, the artwork was really nice. The writing was very appealing, especially across all ages. So it's really nice. Again, more young teens, but there are some fighting scenes. I don't know if they're going to get brutal or not later, but it is an assassin school. In the school, usually, most students pick one of 5 practices: knives, staves, archery, silent assassin, special secret weapons. Tyler chooses not to pick a weapon. There is a reason for this, and you find out in this one, you get the reason for it, but really it's a lot of mysteries. The principal has something to hide. There's a mysterious school nurse. Everyone just calls her a nurse. Nobody knows anything about her. But the most mysterious thing in here is Tyler himself. He may not be who he seems to be. He does have a little bit of a smirk, which would be offsetting if it wasn't for the fact he seems to be able to back it up. While the art style is a little for the younger readers, the writing makes it accessible for people of all ages. Hopefully the art continues to be as adaptive as the first issue, and the plot proves to be on the mark more in subsequent issues. This one really set it up nicely, and I think if Jimmy can continue with where he's going, this will be a nice, easily recommended to younger adults. And its Image, they might have another hit on their hands. Again, see the full review on Front Towards Gamer.
All right. Now, this has been out for a while now, probably about 2.5 years. This is Dynamite's Warlord of Mars. I will say right up at front, all of the covers are extremely risque for this. This does come with a mature reader warning. What I like about this is number 23. There's a bunch of variations of the Warlord of Mars. There's Warlord of Mars Djithoris and the Green Men, Warriors of Barsoom. There's a whole bunch of them. What they have done is really adapted the books well. The original books written by Edgar Rice Burroughs back in, I guess, the 30s, which I read as a child. This is translated very, very well. The artwork is fantastic in it. Once again, you have to be aware of this before kids get their hands on it. No bad language or anything like that, but it's well written. It follows the books very closely. Unlike the Disney remake of John Carter of Mars, this is a much more realistic approach to the books. I highly recommend this. I read all of the different titles. Dynamite does a very good job with interpreting a lot of the classic titles that are out there, and this is one that I think everybody should at least give a chance to. You may not like it, but if you have read the books, you'll definitely enjoy the comic.
Thank you. For a special addition to this Comic Station issue, we actually have a one-shot with 215 Inc. They are a publisher local in the Philadelphia area, and I sat down and interviewed Michael, and he does a comic called Beware from 215 Inc. They not only have published but as well an online presence, and we'll be showing you a short clip from that interview. The book that we're actually here for, the one coming up, the big anthology, the big release, is the Ignition anthology.
Ignition, yeah.
It has, what is it, 80 artists in it. You have...
Yeah, over 80 creators, 300 pages, full color. It's quite the collection. It's been about a year in the making.
If you'd like to see the full interview, you can see it on YouTube. We also have a full write-up on frontdoorgamer.com, and you can always see more. Again, the Ignition Anthology is their big book coming out next month in March, beginning of April. It is a 300-page collection of over 80 teams of artists and writers, giving small samples, short stories of their work, and they're not only already published authors, but as well as some first-time, some bigger names can be recognized in there. Some people that have written for DC, Marvel, so forth. It's just a really nice way to get an introduction to maybe some series or artwork that you didn't know you would like, and it's a good way to maybe see some people that are going to come up their first publishing, and you can say, I knew them when. Alright, we'd like to thank 215 Inc. for their interview. And again, this has been Comic Station, issue number 9 for February 27, 2013. Feel free to leave comments below, subscribe, and let us know what you thought. If there's anything that you would like reviewed, anything you think we missed, any reviews you would like added to the website and to YouTube as well. You can always get me at Pinisi on Twitter. Always happy to respond and answer questions. And we will see you next week.
See you.